Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie Link. I'm Chief Investment Strategist at Hightower. I'm also Head of Investment Solutions, and also I run a portfolio in the Investment Solutions team. This month, we are celebrating Women's International Month. And in fact, on the 8th of March, it's actually International Women's Day. So wear purple if you are so inclined. And we are actually celebrating the women at Hightower. And today I'm honored to introduce Alex Miele, and she is from the Andriel Group, and just what an inspiration, such an up-and-comer rising star. She actually heads the firm's marketing efforts and next generation initiatives, which is pretty cool, really forward thinking. And her focus really is on various stages of financial planning and focuses heavily on educational opportunities, which I find very inspirational. If there's one thing in my career that was lacking, was someone that could help on the educational side. We kind of had to learn ad hoc. So to talk to Alex today is really just such a nice, wonderful way to introduce all of you to her, and hopefully you'll reach out over time to meet her. I know I'm super excited to have this conversation, and thank you so much, Alex. Would love to learn what your journey has been up until this point in your career, and can't wait to see how it evolves over time.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Stephanie. That was amazing, and I am so excited to be here with you today, chatting with you about women getting into finance, because it is certainly a passion of mine. As I've sort of grown up in this career, I started right out of college, and was sort of in a situation where I was like, wow, how am I going to make this work? I'm like 21 years old. I don't really know anybody. But thankfully, with some wonderful mentorship and guidance that I received along the way, I've found not only my career, but my passion. So happy to share anything that you think would be helpful or interesting today.
So tell me, how did you get to Hightower? Like, how did it? Here you are. I mean, you're doing all these wonderful things. You're focusing on education, which is really incredible to me. Why that? Why that angle? And yeah, how did you get to where you are?
Well, we'll go all the way back to 2008. I've always been excited for what I could say. Oh yeah, I have 10 years in the investment industry, and now I'm like, wow, creeping up on like 13 years. So, going all the way back to 2008, I was a very ambitious undergrad studying economics and financial services, and I decided I was going to graduate with my undergrad a year early. And then I kind of realized, oh, shoot, I kind of need an internship. So I literally took my resume.
I love it.
And I walked door to door at any financial firm I'd ever heard of in my little, small shoreline town, and happened to knock on the door of my current partners, Charlie Andriel and Rob DeLuca, and said, hey, I'll work for free. I just really want to kind of learn the business, learn what you guys do. And they had an intern at the time, but another advisor in their group needed an intern. So I interned with them sort of in the periphery, and then over time got to know them, got to see their practice and how they sort of prioritize always on, putting the client's best interest first, sort of, just watching just how much they cared about each little client detail, that I thought, wow, this is something that's, that's really, really powerful for me to see, sort of finance being brought to, Main Street, right? It's actually helping people through really complex issues, et cetera. So I actually started in the Merrill training program before we joined Hightower. So we were with Merrill until about 2013. I'll never forget it. November 2013 was when we made the leap to go independent, and we just could not be happier with the environment that Hightower has given us to be able to, to be able to continue to build our business the way that we, see as appropriate to take care of our clients. But sort of throughout that time of, really building and figuring out sort of who I was going to be as a financial advisor, as I'm sure everybody's got sort of their own specialty, their own, their own niche. So one of the things that I saw sort of after I, started at Merrill in June of 2008, sort of watched this historic moment and just saw how many conversations I would hear in the offices, et cetera, that sort of were like, wow, a lot of people, not with my team, but, a lot of people like I'm hearing around the office, it doesn't seem like their clients really understand what risks they're taking or how these investments work in the first place or what's the purpose of these investments, right? So that sort of gave me like the light bulb moment of, I love to teach. I love to, get into conversations and sort of roll up my sleeves and kind of coach people along. Maybe there's maybe there's room for me here to really focus on that educational component. So with that, I sort of, took off into, okay, how am I going to, build clients up, market myself? A lot of it was seminar based. I've, done some speaking at community colleges throughout the state, and just really focused on always kind of trying to find a way to like give back. And through that, as people kind of got to know my, style, et cetera, they felt a little bit more comfortable, sort of approaching me, if that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, that's like, okay, so inspiring. I can't even stand it. First and foremost, you are cold calling. You just cold called to try to get your foot in the door when you first started. That's number one, which is super impressive because that is not easy. I have a family of financial advisors at the wirehouses, and growing up for a summer job, I would cold call. And that's what made me not get into financial advisors. I went on the institutional side. So I have so much respect. That takes guts, and that takes grit, and that takes determination. And oh, by the way, it also takes a fairly thick skin, right? Because you're going to get,
yes, it does.
you're going to get turned down a little bit, sometimes nice, sometimes not so nice, but that's pretty impressive. That's number one. Then the second thing is you want to teach, educate. And you know what? That is a wonderful way to build trust. And that's why you are so successful at what you're doing, because trust is everything in this business. Kindness and trust. And sure, you want to be accurate in terms of your advice and helping people make money or keep money, but it all starts with the trust factor. And the fact that you want to help people is really, what a wonderful, wonderful niche that you have created. So my goodness, that's just a wonderful story. And let me ask you, what motivates you?
Oh, goodness. So I would say, number one, it's, I think that any advisor in this business who, really is committed to putting their client's best interests, first, it's taking care of the client, right? Like, so it's the little things of, oh, this client is having an issue with the estate, and their estate might be delayed if I don't follow up on this, or we don't help out, or, someone might have lost a spouse or lost the person in their lives that was sort of driving those financial decisions. It's interesting that actually has become, even though I started with sort of the educational route, what I found was that was actually sort of a natural entree to working with female CPAs and attorneys who have mostly women coming into money for sort of the first time, and they're not used to making these financial decisions. So they want somebody who can not only, sort of teach them what they're doing, but empower them to kind of make the right decisions. And to me, there's no better feeling, and there's no better excitement than seeing a client that I've maybe sat with, whether or not there were tears or whether or not there was anger or whatever emotion was coming at that first meeting, to have that, to take it from sort of a place of emotion and high stress to taking it to, okay, I feel empowered about my plan. I know what I'm going to be doing next. I feel comfortable with what investments. I actually kind of know what I own, right? Because we own, we do our own individual stock and bond portfolios. So to see them be like, oh yeah, I own Apple, I own Amazon, and to feel comfortable and confident about that, to me, there's no better motivation. And I just see, again, it's unfortunately, it's mostly women who are in, these sort of like, I'm dealing with the money for the first time situations, and to be able to sort of help women sort of understand our investment lingo and break it down into something that's digestible and understandable, that's what really keeps me going. I mean, I'm part of the Women and Family Life Center in Guilford, Connecticut, which is, so again, women helping women. It's just, we've got to stick together. We've got to build each other up, whether it's a really super hardship or whether it's coming in with money for the first time, or, giving career advice or sharing, sharing thoughts. I mean, it's all, we're better when we're together. So why not, share as much information as we can.
Oh, what an amazing story, Alex. I can just tell you that I think you're so right down the path of there's so many women that just don't understand. Maybe they didn't have to understand. Maybe they're forced to understand. Maybe they want to understand, but they're afraid to ask. And I don't want to ask a stupid question. There are no dumb questions in this planet in finance. And to have, again, it goes back to trust and all that you have done to build their trust. And I wish you all the success in the world. What a fabulous story this is. You're part of a wonderful team. Tell Charlie and Rob they're so lucky to have you, and I tell them that I say hello. And I just wish you all the very, very best. And I just want to thank you for spending some time talking to us. And I can't wait for everyone to see this video and hear your wonderful story. So I hope we can stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Stephanie. I so appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure completely. So stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you soon.